Welcome to Bella in Your Business. My name is Bella Vasta with Jump Consulting, and today I have an award-winning entrepreneur with us. Chris Marr believes that content marketing is the only way to set business leaders free from the world of mediocre interruption marketing. Chris is the founder and driving force behind CMA, the UK's largest membership organization of its time. He has raised the bar on talent curation, leadership, personal development, and community building. His pioneering work has changed the life of hundreds of businesses, all through the power of content marketing. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you very much. That's a really nice intro. It's always nice to hear it when it comes back to you. You think, we did all these things, is that what I do? Right, okay, yeah, it's good. It's a good sense check.
I know, right? And one of the coolest things about you, Chris, is that, at least for me, is that you're just like a regular dude. If you guys are watching the video of this, you're going to see Chris. He's not stuffy. He's just like a regular dude. And Chris, I've actually been secretly following you for longer than you've probably known. You first came on my radar at your first CMA when my friend Kate McQuillan spoke, as well as Marcus Sheridan was there. So anyone associated with those two people are just like automatically cool in my book. But I've been watching all of these CMA lives, which we'll definitely get to later on, because you've also got some other people that I follow and can kind of consider friends in a way speaking there. And I want to learn more about that. But before we get way ahead of ourselves, which I have a tendency to do, I want to dial it back. I want to find out, who was Chris Marr before you started CMA and started doing all that you're doing?
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting question. So you have to imagine, like, if you are watching the video, then this will make sense. I'll try and make it sense for audio as well. But like right now, I'm wearing a cap, got a Johnny Cupcakes t-shirt on. I wear pretty much the same clothes every day, like regardless if I'm speaking, even going to if I go to clients' offices and stuff like that. I'm just me all the time, as you kind of mentioned already, Bella. I've got a beard and tattoos, and that's just who I am, right? It's just who I am. So if you wind the clock back, if you go back 10 years or so, I started my first real job as a manager at the University of St Andrews in Scotland, right? It's just one of the well-known universities across the world. And a lot of Americans actually go to that school as well. I started that job when I was 19 years old in management, and I worked there for 10 years. And I just worked my way up into a leadership position, and I loved that job. It was great. And what I want you to imagine or picture is like fully suited and booted, clean shaven, short hair, just like, in fact, I had long hair for a while, but full suit, shirt, tie, every single day for 10 years.
I don't think I'd recognize you.
Yeah, polishing my shoes. I've got my business cards in my pocket. I am fully in business mode for 10 years. That's what I did. So yeah, it's been like over the last, I would say 6, 7, 8 years, there's been like this sort of like slow discovery of me going from being the person that's trying to like a square peg in a round hole, right? Mm-hmm. So that's like what it was like back then, to slowly come around to the fact that I can just do whatever I want. Like I can have my business my way. I make the rules. It's complete, like total shift, complete from one end of the spectrum directly to the other. You can still be professional. You can still do great work. You can still make lots of money. In fact, you could make more money. And there's you can do all the things well. You can do great work. But it doesn't mean that you have to be, in an office. You don't have to be wearing a suit. You don't have to be working in a large team. All of those things that are kind of conventions, I would say. And even 8 or 9 years ago, I really didn't think this is what I would be doing and where I would be. And I've never felt more comfortable in my whole life.
I think that's amazing, because I think a lot of our listeners can understand to the whole, like, we're all figuring it out, right? I mean, even now, You got to grasp on what you're doing, but you're not going to be doing this forever. And we're always in a journey of learning and growing. We're never quite done. And I think that's a real awesome point that you made there. You're just kind of figuring it out, right?
Yeah. All the time. Yeah.
Go on.
It's just like a constant challenge. It's a continual challenge to figure out who you are, to stretch, to become stronger, better, to do better work, to do the work that really makes the biggest impact. I think I'm continually questioning myself. Even this year, I think even in the last 12 months, I think if we had this podcast 12 months ago and we did this conversation today, I think there would have been a massive shift for
Yeah.
me in that time as well, and the year before that. And I think it's like you can't stop trying to develop whatever skills or your philosophy, or how you see the world and what you believe in and what you feel strongly about, and what you develop your own opinion and your unique perspective. And that's like that can't stop. Like, it's got to evolve, especially if you're a marketer, because that's like the fastest changing landscape in business today. So if you're not continually trying to evolve and grow, and and it's not about being different, it's about being more you and doing your best work at all times, whatever that is for today. So yeah, it's a continual challenge, something that I hope I never lose, never lose the sort of motivation to want to do.
Look at that, everybody. We're 6 minutes into the podcast and you already have a takeaway right there. Always be learning and always be growing. I love how I'm seeing this very parallel to our own businesses, right? Because we're going to be talking about content marketing today. And in order to, I think, really figure out what your voice is and what you're going to be putting out as your business, you almost need to know who you are and what you stand for, and then who your business does. So we all kind of go through this growing up thing, like when we become a teenager, right? Like, who am I in this world? But it's almost like I see a lot of businesses go through this within their own business, because there's one option where everyone just becomes someone that they're not, and they try to follow everyone else and have the same messaging as everyone else, or they can really have their own clear take on it. And I think maybe, I'd love to get your thoughts, through the content marketing, that can really help catapult. You know where I'm going with this? Like, you really have to understand who you are and your business is if you want to be effective with content marketing. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I agree with it, because and there's a couple of sort of things that are good to understand about content marketing. I think it's a journey, especially of like, if you, regardless of how long you've been in business, if you've never put your fingers on your keyboard and written a blog article, or you've ever clicked record on a video camera or record on a podcast or an audio, that'd be like you starting your content marketing journey. And I think people are always kind of obsessed by trying to find the silver bullet that's going to catapult and grow their business and get all the customers and solve all their problems. But they forget that there's so many other benefits associated with something like content marketing: the writing, developing your unique perspective, your voice, how you feel about something, like challenging your own education about your industry and your topics. Like, you start writing a blog article and all of a sudden you don't know as much as you thought you knew about the thing. And then you've got to kind of go away and you've got to read the books and you've got to do the training, and then you suddenly become an expert. And I think there's like this whole journey of self-development or personal development and also professional development that comes along with that package as well. And I think content marketing has such a such a huge impact on you personally, but it also has a massive impact on your business as well. And I think even at a very basic level, results, customers, dollars, pounds, whatever it is, whatever the metric is that you're measuring, is just like one aspect, one benefit of content marketing. So yeah, absolutely. Content marketing is that journey that most people are looking for, that liberates them, that puts the fun and excitement back into their business, that makes them feel good because they're having a larger impact on the world as well. There's so much in it, I think, that people at first can't see that, because they're too wired into trying to find something that's going to solve a business problem or get them more customers or whatever, and they're really just at that sort of tactical level.
Yeah.
Whereas content marketing, I believe, is can be very philosophical.
Yes.
It can also be very strategic, and it can also be very commercial.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that because they misunderstand it. Therefore, they go down a path of miseducation, then they misinterpret it, then it's not implemented correctly, therefore they don't get the results, therefore they say things like content marketing doesn't work, and then we go back in this full circle. So I think there's a much higher level understanding required of content marketing, how it can impact a business and the people within a business, and even in the business owners as well.
There is no silver bullet. No, it was great. No, this is what I totally wanted to just riff with you and chat about. all the different we could go all tactical, right? But I mean, you could blog about that. But I've got the Chris Marr on my podcast, and I want to like have a conversation with you, you know? So this is great.
Cool.
But just to make sure that maybe our audience is just starting their business somehow, and maybe they're like, what are you talking about with content marketing? What is, let's be clear and dial down exactly so we're all on the same page what content marketing actually is. What forms does it come in?
Yeah, so to me, content marketing, so we can go from like high level to like to what it actually is and like what the tangibility of content marketing is. But a high level for a business owner or a marketer, an entrepreneur, a business person, they should be thinking like content marketing to me is just like how you have to market a business today. It's just that we call it content marketing, and I think as marketers we sometimes forget that when we say something like content marketing, someone who's doesn't really understand it thinks it's the marketers talking about something to do with, you know, like a marketing jargon type thing, you know, and they don't, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
But to be honest with you, content marketing is just really a set of techniques and skills and understanding that comes along with how you have to market a business in 2018 and beyond, right? That's just what it is. And the reason for that is because of the change in consumer behavior over the last 15 or 20 years because of the internet, right? People don't interact with businesses the way that they used to early on in the buyer's journey anymore. It's just not the way that it is. So people are searching and finding and using information to help them make a buying decision now, whereas before they used to go to the shop, they used to go to the showroom, they used to pick up the phone and speak to someone, they used to do all of those things, but we don't want to do that anymore. We don't want to do it because we don't have to. So all you have to do is just look at your own buyer behavior, your own consumer behavior. How do you buy something today? And then think as a business person, well, how do we help people find us when they've never heard of us before?
Right.
And that's content marketing. It's like filling that gap. Content marketing to me is just a true understanding of a deep understanding of your prospective customers, how they find and use information to help them make a buying decision. And as a business person, you are proactively creating content that helps them to make a confident and educated buying decision. That's what content marketing is. That's content marketing fills that gap.
That's fantastic. So that was like the global. Now break it down for me. Do you think that like different industries gravitate towards certain types of delivery content, like, you know, maybe more written versus visual versus audio versus, I mean, talk to me about how you see it change, because you're at like this pinnacle, Chris. Chris is like helps hundreds of different types of businesses, and he sees it throughout the whole world. So he said something earlier that was awesome, that if you've ever said, well, content marketing doesn't work, you gotta like back up the truck and put it in a different gear because you're going down the wrong road. So tell me what your experience is with working with all of these different companies worldwide, and if you see something works better with one industry than the other.
Yeah, it's a kind of a tough question, but let's just try and unpack it. I think so we do work with many different businesses, B2B, B2C. We work with non-profit companies as well. And I work with them as a teacher though, as opposed to as an agency. So I do get to see a lot of results very quickly at a kind of very sort of wide scale as well, which is great. So we're not just working with a handful of clients. We're getting to see hundreds of people implementing content marketing at different stages of the journey, different mediums, all of that stuff. So there's a lot in there. So I guess I think a lot of people lean towards the written content at the start of their journey. Mm-hmm. It just feels like a really straightforward and easy place to get it. Web page, written content, blogs, makes sense to kind of go down that path. But also, to be honest with you, I do still feel strongly about this, that the written content still drives the majority of traffic. It still drives the majority of leads and leads into sales as well. But I think there's just this huge, like, incredible shift right now. And I know people listen to this of like, we've heard this for years, this massive shift into video.
Yeah.
And that's not just video like you see people creating vlogs and doing these viral videos and all that. It's not that. That's not what content marketing is.
Right.
Content marketing is your ability to create content that you could integrate into a sales process to help someone make a buying decision. So it's not even about tons of views or loads of people reading your content. It's about how do you increase the speed of your sales process? How do you get better quality of customers? How do you turn people from leads into sales faster? How do you get them to spend more money with you over a longer period of time? All of those things are what content marketing should be about. Content marketing should be about sales. That's really what I mean, it's hard to get this across in a podcast, I guess, in a very short space of time. But when we're talking about content marketing, we're talking about sales. We have to be, because as a business owner, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, if you're going to put any time or effort or resource into any activity in your business, you absolutely have to feel confident that it's going to drive your business forward. It's going to put some money in the bank. It's going to increase your revenue and it's going to increase your profits. If everything else is just fun, we have to be doing these things. So I feel like when it comes to content marketing, when we're looking at delivery, we're seeing a lot of people doing the written content, so blogs, ebooks, that sort of stuff. But there is an incredible shift into video, and we had a chat with our friend Marcus Sheridan last night, live call with him, and he's really pushing a 50-50 split. So if you're creating a blog article or you're even creating an ebook, you want to make sure that you're integrating video into that content as well. And even talked about something called a VBook as opposed to an ebook, right? This is like this brand new concept that I've never really heard of before. And I thought this is something that we need to be looking at. So even like email sales processes, email sequences should be 50-50 on video as well. So we're seeing this integration with the written content, the audio content, and the visual content in the sales process. So I think those three, audio, video, and the written content, those are your three majors, I would say, your three major rich sources of content. That's what Mark Schaefer would call it. Rich content, owned content that you own. It becomes an asset for your company that you can use today, tomorrow, next week, next year, and so on and so forth to help your prospective customers to buy from you faster. So yeah, I would say those are the kind of three majors. I know that sounds pretty obvious, but everything else is just is an iteration of that, I would say. But that's the ones that we really focus on with people, is the rich source of content. A lot of people come to us, I think, early on and say, they come to us with this concept that content marketing is social media, when it really isn't. Social is almost like the next step that we want to be looking at. We want you to be creating content that you own, that exists on your website or lives on your website, that drives traffic to your site, that helps you to create leads and to create sales. And social media is something that can come out after that. And that again comes back to your earlier point as well, Bella, about just getting your unique perspective, understanding how you feel about your industry and your opinions and what your voice is, and finding all of that stuff. And that all comes through content marketing, and I think that's where we really want people to start.
Correct me or tell me if I'm right or wrong. So as you're listening, and as you're talking and I'm listening, I'm thinking of two things. The first thing is, if I'm a pet sitter or dog walker listening to this right now, and we're hearing insert video or content of some sort into the sales process, I'm thinking of an idea like, I hang up the phone with someone who just called because they were interested. I tell them I'm going to email them. And in that email, I do like what Marcus is talking about, the 80% video. Like you say, okay, this is what you can expect with us. These are our most common questions. And you kind of also, you put it towards video. So these people actually have a chance to see and feel and get to know you a little bit. Is that what you mean by inserting content to the sales? That's my first question.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So integrating content into the sales process. So it's like being really intentional and proactive, because you are a good, conscious business person. You are listening to your prospective customers and the questions they're asking. So you know that when someone contacts you for the first time, or like you said, you hang up the phone for the first time, or you get an email inquiry from someone for the first time, you can predict what the next 6 or 7 questions are that they're going to have.
Yeah.
And then if you can do that and you can send them a piece of content, a blog, it could even be over a period of time. It doesn't have to be all at once. But if you can be proactive in placing that content at the right time, you know that they're going to go through this journey from they're going to be a stranger. They're going to go through to a consideration stage, into a decision making stage. If you can predict the type of content that they need at each of those stages, then you're going to speed up the process. You're going to have them buying from you faster, or not. You're going to have them going somewhere else faster, which is fine as well.
Yeah.
But either way, you're going to speed the process up for them so that they'll feel. You still want them to feel like they are on their terms, that they are doing this on their time frame, not yours. But by being proactive, you are helping them to buy from you faster. You're helping them not go to your competition as well, because if your competition aren't doing this stuff, then they're losing out anyway. So there's a massive opportunity there for most businesses. But that's exactly what I mean, Bella, is to integrate that content proactively and intentionally into the sales process so that you can take your prospective customers through that buyer's journey a lot faster and a lot more proactively and a lot more predictably as well, to be fair, because one of the things in businesses, one of the biggest challenges that most people have in business is that predictability, right? They don't know where the next customer's coming from. They don't know how much they're going to be spending. They can't predict. So having some sort of predictive, it's honestly as basic as having a sales process in place and just making sure that content is integrated heavily into that process. Content should really be the fuel for that. It bleeds throughout the whole process for your prospective customers.
As a former pet sitting business owner, this just excites me because it's seriously, you don't even have to go crazy or full blown with it. You could do a 1-minute video if you're saying, I'm afraid of video, or I don't know how to do this. And what if you could have that predictability that that 60% of the people that watch your video end up buying from you just because you sent that video? Imagine what kind of change you could have in your business. So many people are looking for more clients, more employees. Those are the two major things that pet sitters and dog walkers are looking for. But if they could actually take some control over the process of who they do collect and keep more of who they collect, that could be business changing.
I think that's...
Oh, go on.
Sorry, yeah, I think that's it's like thinking about content marketing. It isn't just about getting new customers. That's a really you just sort of almost went into it there, I think. And I think that's something for people that are listening to just consider as well, is that content marketing is not... In fact, it's massively about getting people to find you that have never heard you before, getting them to buy from you for the first time. But content marketing can really help people to stay with you for longer and spend more money with you and refer you to other people. You've got to see content marketing kind of going through this whole process past even the first purchase into the second and the third and the fourth, and essentially having customers for life.
I could not have planned a better segue than what you just teed me up for, Chris, because the second thing I was going to tell you is about a month ago, you had sent out an email and it was, hey, Bella, I got this 45-second video for you. Click here. And I was like, what? That was all the email said. And I went and it was to your website and it was a video you put on there and I watched it and I was like, this is awesome. Not to mention your tagline is don't forget to be awesome. So I actually, Chris, I have weekly emails on Fridays where I usually recap all the content I've produced, the podcasts, the blogs, the free live Facebook trainings that I'm doing right now, just kind of to remind people, hey, this is all the stuff because I know it's everywhere and you're busy. So what I started doing, instead of going into my Aweber and creating a long email, hey guys, this is Bella. I've got a 56-second video for you. Brings it to my website. The content blurbs are underneath the video, but what I've been doing is on Thursdays, I've been finding unique places to record these videos. So today I just did it in front of this estate that I just reserved an estate. I'm doing a retreat. And so I did that with in the background, and that's going out to my community tomorrow. But that is content on top of content marketing inspired by you. And Chris, here's the big clincher. My open rates have doubled when it's a quick video message from Bella. Some pet sitters, here's the ripple effect. This gets me excited. I'm sure it gets you excited too. But as my husband says, he shows excitement different than I do. But you guys are a little different. But Chris, because you sent that out and because I did it, I've had 2 other pet sitting companies do it, and they've had great results from it too.
That's amazing.
So
That's
thanks for
really
being
cool.
awesome.
No, that's so yeah. I mean, I'm so pleased that like you've just swiped and deployed that so quickly, and it is amazing how like that's a really great lesson in there as well. You could have like the greatest piece of content, like the best article on that exists online for a specific topic, but if people don't know that it exists, then that's a major problem. So you have to market your marketing as well, right?
You
You
do.
have, I know, and it sounds like a little bit like, okay,
No,
Chris,
you do.
but yeah,
Yeah.
you do have to do that. And the whole technique there with that email, just to share with people that are kind of curious about where they could maybe learn a little bit more about that, is it's kind of influenced by the 9-word email by Joe Polish.
Love
He's
him.
basically,
He's a local to
yeah,
Arizona.
I didn't realize that. So he's basically this goes back like years. This is like one of the earliest like marketing tactics I learned. I think it was based on real estate. And basically what would happen is if you had like a bunch of people leads on a list for a property or a specific type of property, you could send them an email and just say, "Hey Chris, are you still interested in this property? Hit reply and let me know." And that was the email, plain text, looked like it came from my personal email,
Yeah.
and it was like, and it's like the reason that gets the open, it's just it fits right in a mobile screen. Like you can't, there's no, that's it. There's only one call to action. You click it, it goes to the page, and that's the reason that those emails work because they're just so they're personalized, but they're easy, and it doesn't take anybody any time just to click the little link and it takes them to the page and they can watch the video. And it's just this really simple tactic that just blows me away every time. It works so well, and it really pushed me into like doing all of my emails plain text. I've been doing that for years now.
Yep.
No templates, no design, all very personable, and yeah, it's just changed the way I do email. So the 9-word email is where that was influenced by, and it's just a simple, very simple. It's almost like the opposite of every email that you would go to like learn about, and it's just like so simple, especially if you've got a waiting list or you've got people that are on the fence. It's a great email to send out every now and again just to say, "Hey, are you still interested in this product? Are you still interested in buying this service? Are you still interested in joining the Content Marketing Academy? Hit reply and let me know." We've got that in a sequence somewhere that goes out after 90 days or something like that. So that's, yeah, it works. And I'm so pleased that people have got value from it already. So go, like people listening, go ahead, do it. Send the email to your list. See what
Nothing's
happens.
stopping you. And if you're getting this podcast, you're on my list anyway. So you've seen it, use it, do it. Chris, we're ending the time that we have together. I could talk to you forever, and I've really appreciated you being here. But before we go, I know that coming up in June, you've got the CMA Live event, and I asked you if it was okay that I did this. We're not here necessarily to promote it, but I just think it's amazing. And if I lived over there, or if I could actually get there and I wasn't already on vacation, I would be there. Not only because you're running it, and I know it's quality, it's a quality thing, but you've got people like Chris Brogan showing up, and Ann Hanley, and Brian Fanzo, and all these people that I either just saw at Social Media Marketing World or that I just typically follow and I'm on their email lists. So tell us about this awesome conference that you have out in Edinburgh, the UK, and how people can learn more about it.
Yeah, so it's CMA Live is the name of the conference. This will be our 5th year. It's our 5th conference. The first one we ever did was in 2014, September 2014, and that was the one that Kate McQuillan was one of our very first speakers back in 2014.
Yes.
And then she spoke again in 2016. And yeah, we've had a whole bunch of speakers over the year. We try to mix it up a little bit. We've got these leading marketers, Anne Handley, Chris Brogan, as you mentioned, Marcus Sheridan, all these types of people, which is great, high quality, world-class leading business and marketing speakers, which is really, I think, is such a big deal. I mean, in America, this is kind of like, there's a lot of conferences like this in the States, but in Scotland, there's none. This is the only one
That's
like
amazing.
this at this level. So it's pretty cool. But there is only 6 million people in Scotland, so it's quite small. But yeah, it's a great conference. It's a great thing we're doing. It's like one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my business. It's still, after 5 years, is a major challenge, trying to make it all work together, the finances, all the moving parts, and trying to do it with a very lean team as well. It's just a challenge. It's just a major challenge. But we love it. It gets everybody excited. We do it for our members first and foremost, because they take that opportunity to kind of meet up once a year. It's kind of like our annual sort of like event, and
Yes.
no, it's really, really great. So if you want to find out more, just go to cmalive.co.uk. You can find out more about the event there. We've got a brand new website. I'm not sure when this podcast will go live, but we've got a brand new website coming out in April for the conference. We've put a lot of money into our branding over the last year, last 12 months. New brand, new sort of like stronger, unique sort of perspective. We've kind of put in our flag. That's one thing I always wanted to do from the start, was kind of like put our stake in the ground and sort of say we're here and we're doing something amazing, and it's starting to get noticed, which is great. But yeah, it's like I said, one of the biggest challenges, but also one of the most humbling and rewarding things that I do every year. We do recognition. We get to hang out with people like Chris Brogan and things like that people will either only ever meet once or twice in their whole lifetime or in career. So yeah, it's amazing. I'm pleased that we do it, and that people get value from it.
Yeah, like I said, I've known about it for years, and just been a big fan of watching it grow. And I can't imagine the on-taking that it takes. So from everyone, thank you for putting that on, because I'm sure it's amazing. I really do wish I could be there. Chris,
Thanks,
thank you so much for joining us today. If any of these pet sitters want to reach you or learn more about your academy, where do they go?
Yeah, the best place, like if you want to pick my brain, ask me a question, shout at me about something, then just grab me on Twitter at Chris Marr 101, or drop me an email, chris@cmauk.co.uk. Our website is cmauk.co.uk as well. I've got a blog there, a podcast, whole bunch of content. Yeah.
Now he's saying cma.co.uk. For those of you who didn't catch that really quick, because of the accent.
Or just type Chris Marr into Google. You'll find me. I'm there. I'm in around
all. And he'll answer
on the market,
you guys. He's a real dude.
Yeah. I'd love to hear from everybody. If you've got anything you want to ask me, then I'm open door. So yeah, absolutely, go for it.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Bella in Your Business. If you guys loved this episode, I want you to go back and find out where you found it and comment so we can share it with Chris to tell him thank you. Hopefully you're subscribed, but if you're not, please do subscribe and leave us 5 stars if you loved this. And remember to always keep jumping.